Hello, Anna Ah here. I'm a singer, songwriter, music producer, and DJ, and I am here to help you get a better understanding of music genres. There are a lot of crazy music genres out there. For example, there's mumblecore, math rock, vaporwave, and even pirate metal. In fact, on Spotify alone, there are over 5,000 music genres. So what is a genre anyway? Genres are groups or styles of songs that share common features. These features include tempo, drum rhythm, the type of instruments used, and the vocal style. Today, I'm going to illustrate for you 4 different major music genres: EDM, rock, pop, and hip-hop. Before I get into the weeds, I want you to understand 3 different terms. There's tempo, which is the speed at which the music plays. This is defined as BPM, or beats per minute. Then there's the bar, or the measure. This is a chunk of music. It's defined by a group of beats. So, for example, a 4/4 bar of a song would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. The genres that we're going to illustrate here are mostly in 4/4 time. So 1 bar is 4 beats. Harmony is the musical notes that make up the backing instrumental and support the vocal melody. Classically, these have been made up of chord progressions, which are played by either piano or guitar. Recently, however, harmonies have shifted from chord progressions to loop-based music, which is played either from samples of pianos or guitars or from synthesizers. The first genre I'm going to illustrate is EDM. Here's an example. EDM stands for electronic dance music. It originated in the 1980s with house music, which was made up of samples and mimicked the disco music of the 1970s. Today, EDM has expanded a lot more, and there are many subgenres, including house, trance, dubstep, hardstyle, and more. EDM is played at festivals or clubs by DJs, and by definition, it's designed to make people dance. The music is usually made from either hardware or software synthesizers and relies a lot on looped melodies and samples. Also, there may be lead lines and bass lines that are made from synthesizers. Some of the popular digital audio workstations used for EDM are Ableton and Logic. Some of the popular hardware synthesizers are made by Korg or Roland. EDM is based around loops, which add and subtract instrumentals as the song goes on. Listen, for example, to this EDM drum loop. So you'll notice a few things here which are typical of EDM. One is that you've got a kick on every beat in the measure. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll also notice that on the 2nd and the 4th beat of every measure, there's a snare. In EDM, it's typical to have a snare, a clap, or both on the 2nd and the 4th beat of every measure. You'll notice in that drum loop, and this is very common in EDM, there's an open hi-hat on every off beat. So it's like mt, 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 and every t is a hi-hat. In your music theory classes, that would be the and, when you count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Different types of EDM have different BPMs. House, which is one of the most popular styles of EDM, has a BPM that ranges from 120 to 130. This is a very comfortable BPM for dancing. Trance is a little faster and it has a BPM of 130 to 145. EDM is arranged a little differently from pop music. Frequently, there's a build that gets to the meat of the song. This is in part so that DJs can mix in the song from previous songs. EDM typically has fewer vocals than pop, and unlike pop, songs, especially extended mixes, can last for longer than 4 minutes to fill up the time at the nightclub. Often, producers of EDM will release a radio edit, which sounds like a pop song, and then a version of that song that's extended past 4 minutes that can be played at clubs or festivals. EDM frequently, but doesn't always, make use of vocals. For example, pop lyrics or spoken word. Often you will hear pop songs remixed by DJs. Popular EDM artists include Armin van Buuren, Tiesto, The Chainsmokers, Calvin Harris, and Deadmau5. The next genre I would like to illustrate for you is rock. Here's an example of a rock song. Rock music originally emerged in the 1950s from blues and folk music. It really matured in the 1960s and the 1970s to reflect the new hippie counterculture and social movements of the time. It reflects a generation that rebelled against the status quo, for example, civil rights issues and the Vietnam War. Now it is still a very popular and constantly evolving genre of music. Rock is typically played and recorded in real time by a band rather than synthesizers. Guitar is the defining instrument and makes up the primary harmony of the song. A rock band typically has a lead singer, rhythm guitarist, lead guitarist, bassist, drummer, and sometimes a keyboardist or an organist. The songs are usually based around guitar chord progressions. For example, A, D, E, which is the 1, the 4, and the 5. 1, 4, and 5 are the numerals of the chords in a certain key. Rock music is often based around the 1, the 4, and the 5, and that is something that came from blues music. Rock music frequently makes use of the dominant 7th, which is a very bluesy chord. The drum rhythms vary, but frequently, like EDM, we'll have a 4-to-the-floor kick and a snare on the 2 and the 4. Rock songs are typically written with a similar structure to pop music, so it will have at least 2 verses, a repeated chorus, and maybe a bridge. Rock songs are typically up to 5 minutes long. However, they can be longer if it's a jam band or if the song has long instrumental solos. You'll get a band like Pink Floyd that has a long improvisational intro, and the vocal might not come in for many minutes. It really depends on the band. Rock music is different from pop in that there is room for long instrumental solos and for improvisational moments among the bands. Rock music is often played at concerts and festivals and is designed to create a sense of community. Frequently, the singers will belt the songs, although there are rock singers with softer voices. Popular artists in the rock genre include the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and Queen. The next genre of music I'm going to talk about is hip-hop. Here's an example of a hip-hop song. Hip-hop is an art form that is based very much around samples. At first, these were hardware samplers like the MPC, although now a lot of the sampling is done in software digital audio workstations like Ableton or Logic or Pro Tools. Hip-hop really came to life in the 1980s. It was part of a DIY movement. The music was often shared by DJs at community parties. It was brought forth by people in the US who felt like mainstream radio and music didn't reflect their concerns. They wanted to have a voice in the music industry and in the media. Since then, hip-hop has become very mainstream and now makes up much of the Billboard 100. Hip-hop is based on samples of records in genres ranging from pop, rock, R&B, funk, and soul. These samples are then put to new drum beats. A great example of a hip-hop song that samples an older song is Kanye West's Gold Digger. This song samples Ray Charles's soul song, I Got a Woman. The 808 drum machine is very popular in hip-hop and is used in kicks and bass lines. Hip-hop beats vary, but there is frequently a snare on the 2 and the 4. This snare might be an 808 sound. Here's an example of a hip-hop beat. So you'll hear that there is a snare on the 2 and the 4, And the drum pattern is actually not a 4 to the floor. Rather, it goes boom, 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 boom. There are frequently closed hi-hats on every 8th and 16th of the bar. Hip-hop tempo varies, but is frequently from 60 to 95 BPM. This is a slower groove than EDM. Hip-hop is structured similarly to a pop song, often with 8 to 16 bar spoken word verses and then an 8 or 12 bar hook that's either sung or rapped. Hip-hop is very much about lyricism, for example, rhyming and wordplay. There are certainly elements of storytelling to it. The percussiveness of the language is very important. Words often function like drum beats. The lyrics don't shy away from tough subjects like crime or poverty. Often they're about milder subjects such as love, success, or having fun. Frequently, famous singers and rappers will collaborate on a track. The singer will do the hook, and the rapper will do the verses. Prominent hip-hop artists include Drake, Public Enemy, NWA, Jay-Z, Travis Scott, and J. Cole. Finally, I'm going to talk about pop music. Here's an example of a pop song. I wanna be the one to take you home tonight, 'cause when we're having fun, I know it'll be alright, but I wanna see the sun through the window when I wake up by your side, 'cause if I'm the one, you know, you gotta stay beyond the night, your side, 'cause all my life I've been waiting for this moment to arrive. Oh. So pop music generally is radio friendly. And on radio stations, they don't want to play songs for too long. So typically a pop song will be under 4 minutes. Recently, pop songs have been getting shorter and shorter, and now they're often under 3 minutes. Pop songs are usually structured in the verse-chorus-bridge format, with at least 2 different verses, a repeated chorus, and maybe a bridge. The lyrics of pop music usually are sung. The choruses, or the hooks, are short, melodically memorable, and often summarize the concept of the song, maybe even using the song's title. Pop music has a very wide range of tempos and drum beats, depending on the feel and the message of the song. The vocal melody can be supported in a variety of ways, either a guitar, a piano, or a synthesizer. Traditionally, pop music has been written to a standard chord progression. The drum patterns in pop music vary, with some drums being more like 4 to the floor and some more like hip-hop. The vocal style also varies wildly, from a belt to a soft whisper. Pop music often gets creative with vocals and makes use of vocal harmonies. The genre itself draws on many other genres, including rock, R&B, EDM, soul, country, and funk. Some very popular pop crossover artists include The Weeknd, who crosses pop with R&B, The Chainsmokers, who cross pop with EDM, and Bruno Mars, who crosses pop with funk and soul. Pop, by definition, is popular, and you'll find a lot of pop songs on the Billboard 100. Notable pop artists include Madonna, Michael Jackson, Justin Bieber, Ed Sheeran, and Adele. I have illustrated to you 4 different genres of music: pop, rock, EDM, and hip-hop. Of course, there are many, many other genres. I hope now you have a better understanding of what a music genre is. Music genres are constantly evolving, borrowing from each other, and being reinvented. Some people don't like to define songs by genres at all, and instead think of each song as its own individual entity. If you want to listen to more examples of music genres, I curate Spotify playlists, which feature a mix of indie and famous artists. I have playlists for each of the 4 genres described here. The link to these playlists is included in the YouTube description. Please let me know in the comments if you have any additional questions. Till next time.